J.K. Rowling, the woman who created magic from broke to billionaire. Hello, friends. Today we will learn English through an inspiring story. This story will teach you new words and sentences while improving your speaking and listening skills. Today's story is about a woman who turned her struggles into success, J.K. Rowling, the creator of Harry Potter. Her journey teaches us that no matter how tough life gets, we should never give up on our dreams. Let's begin. Joanne Rowling was born on July 31st, 1965 in England. She grew up in a small town with her parents and younger sister Diane. Since childhood, Joanne loved books and storytelling. She would spend hours writing stories, imagining magical worlds, and creating unique characters. Even though her family wasn't rich, she was always surrounded by books. Her mother used to tell her bedtime stories, and Joanne would dream of writing books one day. When she was just 6 years old, she wrote her first story about a rabbit named Rabbit. At the age of 11, she wrote a novel about 7 cursed diamonds and the people who owned them. Her childhood wasn't always happy. Joanne's mother was diagnosed with a serious illness when Joanne was still young. This made life difficult for the family. However, Joanne found comfort in books. She loved reading fantasy stories and dreamed of writing one herself. After finishing school, Joanne went to the University of Exeter, where she studied French and the classics. She wasn't very interested in her studies, but she did love literature. After graduation, she took different jobs, including working as a secretary. However, she found office work boring. She often daydreamed about magical worlds while sitting at her desk. At the age of 25, Joanne's life changed forever. Her mother passed away after battling a long illness. This was the most heartbreaking moment of her life. She was very close to her mother, and losing her left her devastated. Feeling lost, she decided to leave England and move to Portugal in 1991, where she got a job as an English teacher. In Portugal, she met a man, got married, and had a beautiful daughter named Jessica. But things didn't go as planned. Her marriage was troubled, and after some time, she got divorced. Heartbroken and alone, Joanne decided to return to England with her baby daughter. Now, Joanne was a single mother with no job, no money, and no home of her own. She struggled to pay rent and sometimes didn't have enough food. She even had to rely on government assistance to survive. She later described herself as the biggest failure I knew. But even in these dark times, something magical happened. One day, while traveling on a train from Manchester to London, a story came to her mind. She imagined a young boy with glasses who discovered he was a wizard. The boy's name was Harry Potter, and his story began forming in her head. She wanted to write it down immediately, but she had no pen or paper. So she simply sat there thinking about Harry's world, his friends, and the adventures he would have. As soon as she got home, she started writing her ideas on napkins and old scraps of paper. She didn't have a proper desk or computer, so she wrote whenever and wherever she could. Life was still extremely difficult. Joanne had no money, so she often sat in cafes, writing for hours while her daughter slept beside her. She couldn't even afford heating in her apartment, so cafes became her workplace. She once said, "Rock bottom became the foundation for my life." After 5 years, Joanne finally completed her first Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. She was proud of her work, but the hardest part was still ahead, getting it published. She sent her book to 12 different publishers, hoping someone would accept it. But each time she received the same response: no. Some publishers said the book was too long for children. Others thought it wouldn't sell. Every rejection was painful. She cried many times, feeling discouraged, but she didn't give up. Finally, in 1997, a small publisher named Bloomsbury said yes. However, they only printed 1,000 copies because they weren't sure if the book would be successful. They also asked her to use the name J.K. Rowling instead of Joanne Rowling. They thought boys might not want to read a book written by a woman. Joanne agreed, and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was officially published. The book was an instant hit. Children and adults alike fell in love with the world of Hogwarts wands, potions, and magical creatures. Soon the book was being translated into different languages and sold in many countries. As demand grew more, Harry Potter books were written. The series became one of the biggest successes in publishing history. The books were later turned into movies, video games, theme parks, and toys. Over time, Harry Potter books sold more than 500 million copies worldwide. The films grossed billions of dollars, making it one of the most successful franchises in history. J.K. Rowling, the woman who once had nothing, became one of the richest women in the world. Even after achieving great success, Joanne never forgot her struggles. She used her wealth to help others, donating millions of dollars to support single mothers, children's charities, and medical research. She also continued to write, creating new stories beyond Harry Potter. She proved that failure is not the end, but a step toward success. Lesson from her story. J.K. Rowling's journey teaches us an important lesson. No matter how tough life gets, never stop believing in yourself. She faced rejection, heartbreak, and poverty, but she didn't give up. And in the end, she created a magical world that brought joy to millions. So the next time you feel like giving up, remember her words. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. Keep believing in yourself, keep dreaming, and keep working hard, because your story is still being written. That's the end of today's story. I hope you learned some new words and sentences while feeling inspired. Keep practicing your English and never stop chasing your dreams.